Patrick Cook here. Well, thanks for joining me in session 104 of our Mandelbulb 3D software tutorial series. And we're doing this Mandelbulb 3D software tutorial in the context of a complex animation. Now, I say complex because what we're doing is we're moving the camera through the scene, all right, and we're manipulating the animation events of the camera itself. In this particular animation, I am not animating the Mandelbulb fractal object itself, okay? We're just moving the camera through the scene. On future tutorials, we'll actually take a look at how to animate the properties or the behavior, the motion, the movement, the modification visually of the Mandelbulb object. But in this particular series, we're moving the camera through the scene. Now, in the previous sessions, we actually got to a point where I had 10 keyframes that had been troubleshot and had ultimately we had gotten rid of that stalling point, that glitch, that sudden jerk, and we got rid of that. And what we found was that in my effort to implement a stop, I had inadvertently actually created two identical keyframes, and the Mandelbulb 3D software was actually trying to animate that as it should, all right, but it wasn't handling a keyframe with zero subframes. It wasn't handling it as I expected. Now, it probably was handling it properly, but not as I expected it. So we spent 3 or 4 sessions in troubleshooting and diagnosing that, and that gave us an opportunity to talk about some of the tools and the techniques that you can bring to bear. And we finally got to a point where I took that stop out, and I erased 5 keyframes. I took the stop out and I basically started over. But as you can see here with my documentation, I was able to repeat these keyframes right here simply by following the instructions of my documentation. So the last those 3 or 4 keyframe mishap steps really did illustrate the value of maintaining your documentation. Well, this was the guy right here that was our trouble keyframe, and I pushed that way down on the stack here in my notepad because I wanted to retain the actual animation event description, and these would be, in my mind, these are animation event descriptions. Anyway, we took that out, and now, since we know that that was the problem, we can go ahead and delete that, and so that is out of our life. All right, then what I did after session 103 was complete, I had the software completely render out the full resolution, that is 1920 by 1080 images into our image sequence folder, because I wanted to be able to take these 10 keyframes, we're at 10 keyframes right now, and we have 1800 subframes. All right, and we had previewed that, and it looked okay, but then what I wanted to do, and I always do this before I get too far, I wanted to take a limited set of keyframes, in this case 10 keyframes. I mean, it could be 15, it could be 20, it could be 5. What I want to do is I want to see whether or not my graphic, my lighting and my coloring look good in an animation without going too far. Now, there's ways of being able to modify your lighting and coloring across all keyframes, and that's pretty cool. And that's something I want to get into. Now, but before we go too far, in this session, let's take and get these 1800 subframes at the full resolution of 1920 by 1080. Let's get them to a point where we can actually view them. All right, so we in this tutorial series, I'm not ready to get you into a video editor yet. As a matter of fact, it's a good idea to avoid the complexity of a video editor because you're not really preparing a presentation yet. What you want to do before you get into the video editor or preparing the presentation, what you want to do is you want to be able to check out your subframes at their full resolution without the overhead of complex software such as a nonlinear editor, a video editor. Now, what I've done is I have embraced a piece of software that is referred to as DJV. Now, DJV provides professional review software for VFX, animation, and film production. Now, this is a really good piece of free software. I'm not really sure if it's open source or not, but it's free. You can download it from this location right here. All right, jot that down or back up the video so that you can view that. And what you could do is you could donate some contribution. Now, what I did is I downloaded it, I put it through its paces, and I immediately went back and made a donation because it's that good. I'm not telling you to make a donation, but I am telling you that you're probably going to find that this is a valuable enough tool for your Mandelbulb 3D animation work, probably some other work as well, that you probably will be tempted to make a donation. So it's pretty cool. So get a hold of DJV, and I'm going to demonstrate it for you right now with our own animation. All right, so here we go. So I've already got it fired up. All right, now what I did in between the last session and this session is I had the Mandelbulb 3D render out all of the subframes at their full resolution, and those can all be found right here. And I told the software, and we're going to go over this now, that this is all part of rendering. So we're not talking about rendering right now, but I'm giving you a little tip as to how I did this. So what I did is I had all 1800 of my subframes rendered out to this folder. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select one, and I'm going to do a Control A. Control A is in Apple. I'm in a Windows environment, obviously. And I'm just going to use my mouse and drop it over here onto the DJV. All right, now, this DJV is an animation viewer. And that is really all it does. Now, it allows you to be able to view your animation without involving a video editor. So this green bar down here indicates my scrubber bar, and it indicates, green indicates that all the frames were loaded up into memory RAM, not your hard drive. Yeah, okay, the RAM. And as you can see there, as I kind of scroll past there, just moving my mouse, I'm not pressing any buttons, I can see the frame. So this is kind of a full-size preview, similar to what we had over in the Mandelbulb 3D software, but this is at full resolution with a very robust ability to control it, play it back, reverse play it, scale it. There's a lot of things we can do with this. All right, so now go get yourself DJV and set yourself up. So far, all the tools that I have shown you do not require any monetary investment, unless of course you want to make a donation or some other way. So far we're keeping this on the low budget side. In the next session, we're gonna walk through this video here in DJV. We'll analyze it and we'll see what we got. I'll see you in the next session.